Hey everybody, the Laying It Down for Camp Bucko fundraiser is still going on. The donations have slowed down, but the hoses have not. This sea can is starting to get filled up. These are the ones I just unloaded from the trailer. Those are the ones that were sitting here since last year. These are all still sitting here from last year. We're looking to get donations rolling in. In addition to those hoses that I just showed you, I still have a picture that I'm going to insert right here of all the fire hoses that are still up in Pickering, Ontario. Thank you to the Toronto Social Housing for donating 95% of these fire hoses, as well as everybody else from Southwestern Ontario and Ontario for donating hoses. But let's get those donations to roll in. The link is posted below. 20 bucks a hose. Let's get some money in. Let's support Camp Bucko. Thanks, guys.
Like and subscribe.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. You know me. I'm Chris Logan. I'm here at National Fire Equipment in Vaughan.
Vaughan,
The greater
Concord,
Toronto,
Ontario.
the greater
Yeah.
Toronto area.
Yeah.
I'm here with Dan Webster from National Fire. He's the president. He's got quite the history in this industry, and we're going to learn a little bit about him. Dan, how's it going today?
Oh, it's great. It's St. Patrick's Day. So
Happy St. Patrick. I didn't wear my St.
I
Patrick's
don't
Day
know.
attire.
Yeah.
Everybody in your office was dressed up for St. Patrick's Day. I just took your St. Patrick's Day picture. Check it out on Facebook. I'm sure it'll be posted soon. First of all, thanks for inviting me into your facility. This is an amazing facility. You guys have inventory of pretty much anything you could ever imagine here for fire protection.
Yeah. One-stop shop. That was the goal.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about where that goal came from.
Well, the company started in 1959.
Okay.
It was my father, Tom Webster, and originally fire extinguisher sales, and then got into standpipe products, hose cabinets, and things like that. And then throughout the years, we started adding more and more products to the line, and then eventually got into fire sprinklers. We were a central sprinkler company distributor, and then they were eventually bought out by Tyco, so we're a Tyco distributor.
Yep.
And then we sell a whole host of fire sprinkler products. And right now we're proud to say we can pretty well outfit an entire building, soup to nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was, and that was the push throughout many years since 1959, and we're able to, we're proud to say that we feel we've delivered on that, and we're all about the service and providing solutions and trying to be as innovative as we can. So that's the goal.
Sean took me for a little tour through the office and through the back warehouse a little bit. You have an awesome staff here. You got an awesome team of guys. Everybody was like, "Oh, hey man, what's going on?" They didn't know who I was, but they made me feel important.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool. So you're second generation in this business. Over the years of National Fire, how have you seen the industry change from? I'm assuming you weren't there in 1959, but from when you got involved to now, how have you seen the industry changing as far as from a supplier standpoint?
I think I guess what's changed more is the approach to the business. I think there's a lot more contractors in the business today than there was. Supply issues was always an issue. Getting material up into Canada. Yeah. So that's changed a little more. We're trying to keep it more, sell the service where the contractors don't have to, stock as much, or and it's more same-day deliveries and things like that. So I think that's, I think it's changed from a supply, but definitely from manufacturing. We've seen the, products change over the years. When I first started in the sprinkler business, there was brass uprights, chrome pendants, maybe some concealed sprinklers. And then all of a sudden, we saw a lot of warehouse use of fire heads, extended coverage sprinklers, window sprinklers, and that's the technology side has really changed from what I've seen over the years.
And continues to change.
Oh, yeah.
New products are coming out all the time. That's the joy of the podcast, is I kind of get a first-hand glimpse of all the stuff that's coming out here. I'm not telling you about it right now, though.
But that's what we've, and so, it was our goal to offer our customers with, the most innovative products that were out there. So we're constantly looking for new products. And then Sean recently joined our company. He's great product knowledge, understands the industry really well. So he's also and he's only been here maybe a little over a month and a half, and
Yeah, maybe.
we're already looking at some new products that we'll be adding.
Yeah.
So that's for us. That's what we feel our customers value, and that's what we're going to deliver on.
When did you guys go from being a sort of family business? You guys started in this area, in the Toronto area?
No, actually, it was in Windsor, Ontario, across
Oh,
from Detroit.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I was born, and
That's my neck of the woods.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Sarnia,
true.
but yeah.
Yeah. So we, and then combined with a company called CFH, which is Canadian Fire Hose at the time,
Yep.
and then that sort of that went in another direction, and then moved to Toronto, and then did the expansion. So we moved into bought a company in Vancouver, and then eventually merged that into the National Fire Equipment name, and then that started in Alberta, Edmonton, eventually in Calgary, Ottawa, and then we started in Atlantic Canada distribution out of Moncton.
Right.
And so we're coast to coast as well. So that was the other goal as well, is to make it easy for customers to get our products by having local inventory.
So how many branches are there across Canada right now?
Well, including, and that's something I need to mention as well, we have a fabrication company that's part of the National Fire Equipment group of companies called National Fire Fabrication. And that was the old Simplex Grinnell Warmold fabrication business on Matheson Boulevard.
Yep.
And we acquired the assets from them and started building on that product as well. So and services. So we're a full fire sprinkler fabrication company. We could provide that along with the loose material.
Sure.
So with that, with the fabrication operation, there's 8 locations across Canada, and about 130 employees, give or take. We're growing up to that number for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, your other branches, are they similar to this? Wall-to-wall racking with...
Very similar. Yeah. They're we have a pickup counter for our customers in every location, and the only thing that really differs is the size.
Right.
And the amount of inventory. So that's, but yeah, they're very, very similar. With a will call or a pickup counter, and then with shipping and receiving, and then the sales operation out of each location. And then in here we also do fire hose testing.
Right. Yeah.
And then we do that in Vancouver as well. So that's the rack hose per the NFPA requirements, and then we also do some testing repairs for some of the municipal fire departments, and then industrial fire departments. DeFasco, for example, or some one of the larger industries.
Have you seen with kind of the way a lot of municipalities are going with taking out those Class 2 fire hoses? Are you seeing a decrease in the testing requirements for that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a good question, because that's actually one of the reasons why we want to diversify into the fire sprinkler supply.
Right.
We noticed,
You saw this change in standard coming back in the 70s?
Well, because it was happening in other provinces.
Yeah.
Like it was not in the 70s.
Right,
I wasn't around there, but certainly in the 80s and 90s, we started seeing more of that 38 millimeter hose coming out of buildings.
Yep.
So that was changing, and so we thought, we have to diversify or to survive. So that was one of the reasons why we got into that. But definitely we're seeing that coming out of buildings.
Yeah.
There's a debate whether that's a good thing or not. My feeling is that a building should have three forms of protection: automatic with the sprinklers, it's very important.
Yep.
A detection and alarm, and then some sort of manual means. So definitely putting the 65 millimeter 2.5 inch hose in the stairwells or in hose cabinets. That's a good thing. But but it's changing, and but we're still doing a lot of testing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really
where it's installed, it shall be serviced. That's
Exactly.
the thing. You can't, if you're going to choose to not do the testing, you
Yeah.
have to take them out. If you're
Yeah.
going to leave them in place, you have to service it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an NFPA catch-all. And like you were saying, we chose to kind of change our dynamic as the growth of the business and stuff like that. My kind of catchphrase on this podcast is you evolve with the industry or the industry is going to evolve without you.
Yeah,
And that's directed to mostly to fitters, but it also comes into play with business as well. Like if you're not kind of seeing the trends in the industry and paying attention to them and moving with those trends, you're going to be out of work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. When I first started in the business, it was a linen hose, so it was
yeah.
a natural fiber.
Yeah.
You know, the problem with that, it would rot.
Yeah.
If it get,
Yep.
but there's new technologies with polyester hose and polyurethane linings.
Yep.
In fact, some of the hose that you see in the buildings, there's varying degrees of that, but it's used for forestry as
Right.
well, with some different weaving processes
Yep.
and application, and to make it. In some there's weeping hoses. So the fire hose in buildings is much better than it used to be.
Yeah, much more robust.
yeah.
Although you do still get that cheap hose being installed. You could argue that it's not ULC approved.
Yeah, some we've always made sure like it was either factory mutual
Sure.
approved or
Yep.
ULC. I mean, now the couplings, there's changes in the standards where the couplings need to be FM approved as well.
Right.
But but it's there's a debate on the confidence that the fire department has in that hose.
That's always a conversation. As I'm a volunteer firefighter in my
Yeah.
township, and that's a conversation that we said, like, I don't service this building, so I can't tell you
Yeah.
if we're using that hose or not.
Yeah.
99% of the fire departments out there are pulling that hose out, throwing it down, and hooking up their own.
Yeah,
Right.
And I was trying to get some stats on that. Unfortunately, there was, not a lot has been reported. But I would do my own sort of, because I Sean and I, we know a lot of people in the fire services.
Yeah.
And I said, if you ever use that hose, it's in the occupant's hose. Let me know. And I was surprised that some of the guys were using it, but you're right. Like I think it's the training is that the fire department will more inclined to use their own hoses and hook up to the connection that's in the hose cabinets. The occupants, there's some training, more training going on.
Training required, yeah.
So I think it has its application, but I mean, like I said, I think it's always nice to see the balance from my point of view. There's more fire protection in a building than less. So
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's but we also sell a lot to we have a municipal division, so we do sell rubber covered hose and double jacket hose to some of the fire departments across Canada as well. Some forestry products as well. So yeah, the hose is still a big part of our business. But definitely the growing part of our business is in the fire sprinkler side.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dan,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on.
Hey,
and
well,
talking
thanks.
fire
Yeah, for coming by.
process. It's a great conversation, and it is a beautiful facility.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy
to
St.
everyone.
Patrick's Day.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.